All right, everybody, what is going on? Good afternoon. We're going to do a second video today, at least this video. Maybe we'll do another one later, who knows? But I want to talk a little bit about an article that Pro Football Focus released yesterday. And I know Pro Football Focus is in a little bit of a weird spot right now. I don't totally know what they're going to be doing in 2026, but for the moment, they are still operating enough to at least release this article. I think it's an article they write every year. They are ranking all 32 starting quarterbacks going into the 2026 season. And this is an interesting list. It's an interesting article, and I thought we'd take a look at it because some of you may remember, because I believe I did a video about this, Sam Darnold was ranked in, like, I want to say the bottom 6 for starting quarterbacks last year. And I think it's going to be interesting to see if the PFF has come around on that a little bit. This video is sponsored by PrizePicks. So, Pro Football Focus quarterback rating, all 32 starters ahead of the 2026 season. So, that is one thing to keep in mind here. These are rankings for the upcoming season. These are not rankings based off last season. So, you're going to see some stuff that doesn't necessarily make a lot of sense, but when you filter it through that understanding, makes sense. All right, so let's go through the list here. It's just 32 rankings, so this is going to be over pretty quickly. The top 5, you got Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Matt Stafford. I think that's pretty obviously the top 5. I don't think anybody would have a different top 5 than that. You could debate the order, right? The order is the one thing that's a little bit tricky. But those guys are pretty clearly, I think, in the top 5 in some order. And again, remember, we're talking about ranking for 2026. So Mahomes might be higher, but he's coming off the injury. Stafford might be higher, but he's old. So they're baking that in there. That's the thing to understand here. So, all right, off to a good start, but we get to number 6. And I know Pro Football Focus likes Jordan Love in terms of their grading, but this list is clearly not just representative of their grading. I don't see it with Jordan Love. I don't. I know that they grade him very highly. They think the world of him. They seem to think that he is the next elite quarterback, but I struggle with this one. I don't see Jordan Love as taking that next step. I feel like every year over the last 2 years, well, okay, that's just 2 years, but the last 2 years we've been told Jordan Love is about to become the next Aaron Rodgers. He's going to be the next great NFL quarterback. He's the next man up. And I feel like the last 2 years we've gotten decent play, but I'm not seeing him take strides the way that I expected. So I don't see Jordan Love as the 6th best quarterback in football. I don't see him as a top 10 quarterback. I know PFF likes him, and that's their right, but that stands out to me as, like, objectionable. Justin Herbert, 7. Okay. Dak Prescott, 8. All right. Drake May, 9. Sure. That seems okay. Brock Purdy, 10. I get it. I don't know if I agree with it, but I understand it. And that's your top 10. So no Sam Darnold in the top 10, which not necessarily surprising, but we should ask ourselves if that's fair or not. But let's keep going. Let's get to where we're trying to get to here. So 11, Trevor Lawrence. I see the vision. I do, because of the second year of the Liam Cohen offense. But at the same time, feels like it's kind of like Jordan Love. We keep waiting for Lawrence to become the next big thing, and we're assuming it's going to happen eventually, and we've been waiting a while, it feels like. If you like sports, then the best way to make them even better and more exciting is using the PrizePicks app, where it always feels good to be right. PrizePicks makes daily fantasy simple. Just pick more or less on your favorite players and build lineups with a few taps. Whatever sport you're into, and obviously we are now firmly into the NFL offseason, so we're all about baseball, we got some basketball, we got some hockey, whatever it is you like, PrizePicks gives you a fun way to stay locked in while you're watching. Definitely make sure to use the promo code HMA. PrizePicks is hooking up users with $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. If you use that promo code, that is HMA. I've had a great time on PrizePicks so far, so definitely get on over to it, check it out, and make sure to get your lineups. And don't forget about Team Picks, where you can pick winners, spreads, and totals on any major game. So download the app now, use HMA, and get on over to Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And remember, always gamble responsibly. Now, I'm a Trevor Lawrence fan. I like Trevor. I think he's good, but I don't know. I don't know if you can continue to take it on faith that he's gonna become the guy that we think he's gonna become at this point. He had like a 60.5% completion last year. That's rough in the Liam Cohen offense. Jane Daniels, 12. We'll come back to that. 13, Caleb Williams. We'll come back to that as well. And then we get to our boy, Sam Darnold, at 14. So pretty close to the middle, technically just above average. One spot above Jalen Hurts, 2 spots above Jared Goff. So that is what we have to chew on here. So let's think about this a little bit. Let's try to understand where they're coming from. So I want to reiterate this. This is a projection of what they think is going to be the case in 2026. This is not based on 2025. So Jaden Daniels, you're going to look at Jaden Daniels and be like, what the heck is he doing up here? Some of you might even look at Caleb Williams and feel the same way because he had like a sub 60 completion percentage. He's got a bunch of turnovers, et cetera, et cetera. I know that there are holes in his game. But these two guys, Jaden Daniels and Caleb Williams, are two pretty obvious improvement candidates for 2026. So I think projecting they're going to take big strides forward is totally fair. I got no beef with that. I don't know if you take it this far, but I understand where that is coming from. I do. At the same time, because I have to extend these same arguments in other places, right? Like in the case of Trevor Lawrence, who is now an NFL veteran, he's been in the league for some time now. He's been in the league since 2021, I think was his rookie. Yeah, 2021. So Trevor Lawrence been around a lot longer. I don't think you can make the same concession here reasonably. And, Drake May, one really good season. I don't know how to feel about that. Brock Purdy living in that under the wing of Kyle Shanahan. And I already talked about Jordan Love. I'm not going to get into that a little bit more. I got to admit, I struggle with this one a little bit because let's think about Sam Darnold here. Number one, he just turned 29. There's no age-related regression here, right? Like Dak Prescott is significantly older than Sam Darnold at this point, right? Like, there's nothing going on with Sam Darnold that makes you think, oh yeah, he was great these last 2 years, but now he's just old and his arm is going to be cooked. There's nothing like that there. He's 29. There's 2 straight years of making the Pro Bowl, over 4,000 yards, bunch of touchdowns, 31 total wins, including the postseason, 7 total losses, 2 different teams. And that's the thing I'm really going to hang on to here. Doing it in Minnesota is one thing, right? You can just say, oh, that's just Kevin O'Connell. O'Connor, excuse me. Pronunciation's all messed up today. That's just KOC. Okay, that doesn't mean a whole heck of a lot. That could just be a system quarterback. But then he goes to Seattle, loses Justin Jefferson, loses Jordan Addison, loses KOC and Josh McCown and that crew, that really good coaching staff they have over in Minnesota. And I know he keeps the defense elite, but he loses so much else. And I know he gains JSN, and JSN ended up having the best season of any receiver in franchise history and one of the best wide receiver seasons ever. But what else is he working with? He's got an older Cooper Kupp, right? He's got a workable Cooper Kupp. He's got second-year A.J. Barner. He's got a running game that is, for the most of the season, pretty darn inefficient. The team just sticks with it. He's got an offensive line that came together over the course of the season and was pretty good, but I certainly wouldn't call it elite. Like, this is clearly not a system quarterback. The things that you can say about, like, Brock Purdy, because you've never seen him outside the Kyle Shanahan offense, you can't say that about Sam anymore. After 2024, you could have said that, yeah. We'd have been like, it was KOC. It's Justin Jefferson. It's this guy and it's that guy. It's Wes Phillips. It's just circumstance. But not anymore. Like Clint Kubiak was not some big name when we hired him. Clint Kubiak was not known as some heroic QB whisperer, master of offensive play calling until last year. And Clint Kubiak did great. But it's not like Sam Darnold got to work with Mike Holmgren or something like that and was really good. And people are like, well, yeah, of course he is. He's working with Mike Holmgren. He's working with Andy Reid. No, it was Clint Kubiak. Like, let's not get out the anointing oil just yet for what seems to have been a good offensive coordinator, but I don't know if it's more than that. How is that guy not a top 10 quarterback when he does it 2 years in a row? When it results in wins, these are not just stats, right? The stats are good. And I know there are a lot of turnovers too, but if the last 2 years have taught us anything, it's that turnovers are just turnovers. They're something that you can overcome. There's something that are not a big deal as long as you're putting up points and winning games. And Sam Darnold the last 2 years has put up points and won games. So even with everything I just said, I don't know if you should be putting Caleb Williams in front of him. I see the vision. I don't know though. Jaden Daniels, same thing. I see the vision. I get where it comes from, but I don't know if you should be doing it. Trevor Lawrence. I mean, how long are we going to wait for that? And Purdy, I understand the Purdy stuff kind of, but I think Darnold's better than Purdy. And I think Darnold will be better this year than Purdy, at least in a vacuum. And Jordan Love, like I already talked about that enough. I don't need to keep going on that one, but yeah, I'd rather have Sam Darnold than Jordan Love. I don't understand really what I'm missing with the Jordan Love thing. He's working with he's got LaFleur's great, by the way. LaFleur's an awesome coach. Love's got access to that. The rest, okay, yeah, fine. Like the top five guys, and I'd say Dak are definitely better than Darnold. Herbert and May, probably better than Darnold. I think. I know Herbert's tricky. I know May's only had the one good year, but I think so. I don't know. I don't know. It doesn't feel right to me to look at a quarterback that has won 31 games, made back-to-back Pro Bowls, had back-to-back 4,000-yard seasons, and did the latter of those in a low volume passing attack, and worked with two completely different set of skill position players, two totally different supporting casts. And I know both units had an elite defense, but you take all that, the quarterback who, by the way, just won the Super Bowl and played an incredible game in the biggest game of his career in the NFC title game against the Rams, and then you're telling me he's the 14th best quarterback in the league. And it's not terrible or anything, right? Like, hey, Jalen Hurts won Super Bowl MVP. Not that I think he's very good. You know, Jared Goff is down here. Goff's a pretty good quarterback. Stroud's down here. Baker's really, yikes. I mean, that one, look, I know Pro Football Focus looks at things a little bit differently than other people might. But at the same time, this is an opportunity for them to deviate from the way they grade things and try to evaluate things a little bit more well-roundedly. And, you know, the irony here is, and I understand this is not just a straight ranking from their grading system, Sam Darnold was the 10th ranked quarterback by PFF grade last year and the year before. So they had him in the top 10 by their grades, and yet they put him 14th. And of course, last year they had him like 26th or 27th or something like that. So I don't know. Doesn't seem like it passes the sniff test, but what do you guys think? How good is Sam Darnold? That's really what I'm trying to get to here. How good is Sam Darnold? He's had 2 straight years where I think he's pretty clearly been a top 10 quarterback. That doesn't necessarily mean he is a top 10 quarterback, but I think it is. In this circumstance, because he did it across 2 different teams with 2 different offensive coordinators, 2 different situations, and right now, he is a Super Bowl champion. So let me know what you guys think. I'm going to go and get on out of here. See you guys later. Go Hawks. Everyone have a great rest of your day. And yeah, 14th out of 32 doesn't feel right. It just, I don't know, it doesn't feel right. And again, I understand. This is about 2026. Still doesn't feel right.